Welcome to Self-Publishing Authors, home for candid talks and honest recommendations, from book editing to book marketing, from author journeys to inspirations. Hosted by Gurhan Demirkan.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Gurhan coming at you from Austin, Texas, and it is absolutely gorgeous outside. I am looking out the window. It is 75 degrees. I know that from my cell phone over here. I see it. It really doesn't matter though, because I love you guys and I'm here. I'm with you. And today we are going to have a special session because we have a guest. And believe it or not, you're not going to listen to me all throughout the session. So, the special guest is Nancy Leonard, and she is the second place taker of PNWA Literary Contest. And it says over here, it says second place in the 2022 Literary Contest category mainstream. So she's going the self-publishing way, and we're going to start digging in and asking her questions and what she does and how she does and start learning from her, right? Let's get to it, shall we? Hey, Nancy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Gurhan. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I was just doing the introduction and I was looking outside. Of course, I'm in Austin, Texas, and you're in Washington. I see you're wearing something with long sleeves and everything else. It's 75 degrees and it's beautiful outside. What about there?
It's been beautiful here. We had a little smoke, but not as much as Seattle, but the weather's completely changed. And now we're into typical fall rainy weather, which we're all glad for. Everything's dried out here.
Oh, you're glad for that. Okay.
Yes, we need the rain.
Okay. Okay, so we are gonna get to it. I would like you to introduce yourself so that everybody will know.
Okay. My name's Nancy Leonard. I have been writing for over 10 years now, and that's after a 35-year career as being a physical therapist and then a rehab clinic manager for most of that time. I retired the minute my husband got his military pension and health care. And I spent 3 years immediately after retiring learning to play the acoustic guitar.
Whoa.
It was a big stretch for me, and tiptoeing into the creative world, and I loved it. And it became a bridge to writing.
Nice.
I'm absolutely convinced that the writing led from that. But yeah, I've been writing for over 10 years. I have 3 published novels, and I think we'll get to it. But I'm working with you to get the 4th one published, and then
Yes.
I have first drafts in line. So we'll talk about it.
Oh, we're on a roll, in other words.
Right.
Yes.
I love writing.
Yes, good. Hey, not many people would know this in America, but I do have a rock star younger brother.
Ah.
So when you said acoustic guitar, and actually he's on a tour right now in Turkey.
That's fantastic.
Yes, yes.
I even performed with the band, and they were very, very, very generous to let me do that.
Awesome.
And frankly, it was one of the highlights of my life. Unless you've ever performed live on stage, it was an incredible experience. Amazing. So good for your son. I'd love to hear some of his music.
No, my brother.
Your brother?
Yes, my brother. Yes.
All right.
He's a rock star, one of these.
And I bet it just brings him great happiness.
Believe me, when he's on a stage, everything stops. He's the guy.
I know it. It's wonderful.
Yeah. So you said how many years you have been writing?
All right. This is funny. I know the date. May 14th, 2011.
2011. Wow.
Right. So actually, it's been over 11 years. And basically, I had no desire to write at all, at least write a novel. I mean, I won some writing awards in school many years ago, but no one ever encouraged me. It was not a good way to earn a living. And I let it go. But on that date, I woke up with an idea. Two brothers who hated each other and what could have caused that. And so I sat down at a computer thinking that I would just record the idea. It would probably take about 15 minutes. And I basically didn't stop writing compulsively for probably 6 or 7 years after that.
Wow, that's nice. Well, I guess it was built up in you.
The story just kept pouring out.
That's nice.
And minor characters kept needing to be developed.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept writing. And yeah, it just was absolutely fabulous. It still just brings me enormous happiness.
Okay, well, what type of novels do you usually write?
All right. That's always been a problem because publishers want a genre.
Yes.
They're easy to market, send me a mystery, great, we'll put it in with that.
I'm going to cut you off. Believe it or not, the marketers, the promotion guys, they want genres too. It's easier.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And when you think about it, they're into earning a living and making money, and I totally understand that. But I think the world is moving away from that. I think with Amazon and doing their algorithms, being able to target what readers want, I don't think a lot of readers just want one-dimensional books. I think they want multi-dimensional books, and that's what I write. And by that, I mean that I do, probably my very strongest suit is character development. Mm-hmm. When you read my books, you really care about my characters. You know them very well. And when they are in a horrible situation or danger or personal pain, you ache with them. And then on top of that, I do extensive plotting, and I think they go together. In my books are both plot and character driven, and okay. That's what I do.
Right. Good. Next time I'm going to write a novel, I'm going to call you. Well, I have a couple of characters. Can you please build these?
Yeah. Well, that's what I do the best, and my novels tend to be thriller, suspense with very strong personal development. So yeah, it's a little hard to categorize.
Suspense. Yes. Actually, one of you mentioned Amazon artificial intelligence. The way that when Amazon lists everything and it starts listing these are the books related to it, or the books that people bought, and your author page, and then right underneath there are authors related to you, your genre. And when you start writing like combinations of those, artificial intelligence, it gets confused. So it doesn't know what to put under your book or related authors, and it just confuses the heck out of Amazon. But they just put something anyway. So that goes to my work, to marketing the books. When it's set within the square, simple, but when it goes all the way, in seven directions, then it becomes harder. Anyway, though, so coming back to you, how long does it usually take to write your book?
Once I have a basic idea, and we'll talk about that a little later, it probably takes, I would say, an average of 4 months to write the first draft. Now, after that, though, I consider writing the first draft about a third of the time that it's spent to develop a novel. 70% of it, once the first draft is done, goes into multiple layers of editing. So I would say if I was really just doing one book at a time, it would take about a year to write it and edit it and get it ready to publish. So approximately that long.
Oh.
Right now, I'm working on a spy novel, and I do an immense amount of background research into my topics. I don't like to write superficial things. So I'm doing a spy novel right now, and I did not know much about the espionage world. I'm fortunate that I have a CIA/Foreign Service friend who's sort of mentoring me into learning about that world. and he's suggesting authors that I read. So I have read 12 novels by probably 2 top of the line spy novelists just to get ready to understand the world that I'm writing about.
Okay. And here I am dealing with some authors. They write like 1 novel a month. Okay, maybe 2 months. But they just pump it out. They just pump it out. And but that's different process.
Well, I spent probably 7 years developing drafts of books. So it's not like, for instance, if you were going to market the next one, it's in line right now. I'm probably halfway through the editing process. It'll probably take another 4 to 5 months to have it as good as I can make it. And then I have 3 more in various stages of editing. So I'm always doing a combination of writing material and editing.
Okay. So it's not like you finish the book and then send it out.
I think that's what normal people do.
Yeah. I knew that was a catch.
Yeah. My books are very unique, and it's hard to find parallel works. They started out as a series, and the series has gotten looser and looser. I do not have one major character that's carried on throughout the series. But my main characters of previous books then get carried on into the future in evolving roles, somewhat a little bit more dramatic, more involved, and sometimes just as small parts. But I've been looking for parallel series that seem to be like what I do, and they're hard to find. If you remember the Poldark series that's been on PBS a lot.
Yeah.
The author, Winston Graham, did 12 novels. And basically that's pretty close to what he did. He does really good character development, but then he keeps going through the series and pulling out younger or more minor characters and then making them dominant in later books. So once the reader is invested in my characters, which I hope happens, they keep reading because they want to follow that character, but then I hook them into the next character.
One. Yes.
It goes on like that.
Yes, your comment, when they are invested into your characters, I am sure they will be, because after winning this 2nd place, let's talk about that.
Yeah, you know, I'm unusual, Gurhan. This is the 2nd major award that I've won. As you know, I have 3 books published, and you're going to publish the 4th one.
Yes.
And I have all these other books lined up. I won this. This is the 2nd major award. Both of the awards are a product of the Pacific Northwest Writers Association. If you haven't heard of it, it's probably one of the bigger writer associations in the United States. They attract writers from all over the country. They have an enormous conference every week. And then they have a conference where they provide learning experience. They provide a variety of contests. And these are not little contests. These are major contests where they have many hundreds of entrants. Well, this is the 2nd major award that I've gotten. This first one was on the 2nd book, and it was the Nancy Pearl Award. Again, she's sort of like the national librarian, and to win that award was a very big deal. And then this one that I just was just announced for, the one that you're going to publish. Congratulations to both of us. It came in 2nd among 450 entrants for unpublished novels under the mainstream category. Now, remember, we were trying to classify my books, like what genre. There really isn't a genre. Mainstream kind of encompasses it. But here again, I win this really major award. And I'm going, I'm writing these really high quality books and I really need to market them. Hence you.
Yes.
But I'm not good at the marketing piece. I'm really good at writing quality novels, apparently. So
That's how the two worlds come together.
exactly.
Yes.
We all, a very good friend of mine, who I may mention later, is a multi-published author. And he said, if you try to focus on everything and make everything the best, it's exhausting. But
Yes.
find what you're really good at and then become really good at it. And so that's what I think I do.
Yes.
So.
Go at it, right? Just that's it.
Yeah.
So you won an award. You won another award. When you're writing these books, do you do the planning and plotting and before you start writing, or you just start writing?
Everyone does it differently, but the way I do it, I know who my main character is going to be. Usually it's because I'm just a minor character that I've written something about before, takes over my imagination to the point that I go, this person has a really, really, really interesting story to be told, and I'm going to tell it.
Okay.
That's it. Then once I have my main character, I know I have to only know two more things. I have to know what a precipitating incident is. What's going to take this character from his ordinary coasting everyday life and dramatically alter it. Mm-hmm. And then I have a pretty good idea of where it's going to end up. So in other words, I have a beginning and I have an end. Okay. And the whole middle is completely foggy. And I just sit down and start writing. And the questions of where we go next are presented constantly.
Okay.
And then I have a divergent path. What do I choose? What happens? What goes on next? What does the character choose? And it goes on like that. And I'm constantly surprised, I am, at where my characters go. It's like they take over a life of their own.
Yes. So you don't actually use like development editors or anything like that?
It's just... No, absolutely not. I don't do outlines. I do, and also sometimes I get stuck, like I don't know where to go. And very, very often, I bet if you talk to fiction writers that they will admit this happens to them. It happened to me last night. I will wake up either in the middle of the night or when I'm half awake in the morning with a solution to a problem. And it's not like I was trying to find the solution. It just popped in. It just happened. It's one of the exciting things. On my newest novel, I actually had that thing happen to me last night. I woke up with an idea for a bridge chapter that needed to be written. It just had to be. I had missed it. I needed to introduce a character earlier. And the idea of how I was going to fit that in and then put it into the later part of the book, it just happened without trying.
Okay, let me get this straight. Do you have many books at work? Like one or two or three? And then all of a sudden you wake up and, hey, I found the solution for this book. Let's just get to it.
Well, okay, you pin me down. I am now really, really focused on the 5th book.
Okay.
The title is Protectors. And it's been sitting, I've edited it several times already. Like I said, we can talk about it, but I do several layers of editing. It's about half done, maybe 3/4. It's close, it's not too far off. But you learn things over 11 years of writing. And one of them is that you need to bring in your major characters fairly early in the book. There are 3 major characters in this book, and I did not bring in one of them early enough. That's why I needed that earlier chapter. Okay. So this is the 5th book. There are 4 more drafts completed. That's a total of 9 books. Plus, I'm writing brand new material on the spy book, which will be 10.
Wow. Okay. I can't wait.
Well, I'm just trying to live long enough to
So,
get all this done.
everybody has this 24 hours a day. How many hours do you have?
All right, now I settled down. I'm relatively normal.
Okay.
I probably do 2 to 3 hours a day now.
Okay.
And strangely, since I'm retired, I tend to do it in the afternoon. I'm still fresh enough, but in the morning, it takes a while to get going. I have an exercise routine, I kind of have my thing, but usually in the afternoon, maybe from 1 to 4, that's sort of my writing time.
Okay.
When I was frantically just starting, I remember one day I wrote straight new material for 8 hours. That was unusual, but I probably averaged 5 or 6 hours a day for 5 or 6 years. It was like a job, but I loved it.
Isn't that like draining,
Exhausting.
I'm sure it is. Yes.
Writing new material takes a lot of energy.
Yes.
A lot of energy compared to editing. And I'm one of those people that loves editing because it makes the work better and better and better, and the characters deeper.
Yes.
But the real energy is writing the new material.
So from what I understand, when you start writing your books, not a book, books, many books, am I right to say, okay, let me just use the terminology of writing to market. Okay, this is not like, oh, today a romance is going, let's just write romance. No, I'm not talking about that. I am talking about your genre. Within genre, you have multi-genres, let's put it that way. So you know what your readers like, and focusing on that is not your forte. What you do is you just write whatever you like. Am I?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't imagine writing to market.
Okay.
I'm sorry for you, but I write because I want to create 2 things. I want to create a world that is a place to go to. We kind of these days need a place to go to where loyalty and trust and redemption is possible and things like that. I have a Blackfeet friend she's been my friend now for 10 years. The first 3 books take place primarily near the Blackfeet Reservation in northern Montana. And I knew I needed to develop an editor who could work with me on authenticity. So I did that. It's been glorious, but I write to please myself. And luckily, to please myself means that I create memorable characters in a world that I want to visit, that has goodness. It has a lot of evil, but people battle it, mostly successfully.
Okay.
That's it.
Awesome. Yes. And so when you're writing, you have no notion or thinking or back thoughts of how this book will be promoted. Absolutely not. Yes.
I do think about the genre issue. I really do. But I can't change what I write to target in a direction that I would not have gone. It's impossible. I can't do it.
You can't do it. You just write it.
Yes.
Okay. So let's just go into the publishing side. I know you have 3 books, and the 4th book, you're doing it with me. And do you have any idea? Are you just going to go exclusive, or you're just going to go wide? Just one Amazon, that's it? Or you're just going to put your book into any other platform there is? So have you thought about that?
It's interesting, Gurhan, because I think that you and I potentially have a really good partnership here. In my dream world, I'd like to find a major publisher that could use both of our services together as sort of a team. I mean, The very largest publishers do a lot of their own marketing, but that's very rare. And if you and I can together, you do the piece that I'm missing and I do the creative part, I think it's possible that down the line it might be sellable to a major publisher for broad exposure. I think the quality of my work is such, and the awards that I keep getting are such, that if the books become really discovered in a larger audience, it's possible they could go a long way.
I feel that it's coming though.
I think so.
Yes.
I really do.
Yes.
One other thing, and I know I sent you a basic outline, but, and I don't target this, but there's so much media these days. Now I'm talking about Amazon Prime, I'm talking about Apple TV, I'm talking about all these that have these serial streaming productions. My works, all of them, all of these books lead into one another, and they would be incredibly perfect for a streaming service for multi-season productions. Now, I really don't think that I have the energy to learn to do wonderful screenplays. And I particularly don't have the expertise to work on marketing to that particular.
Yes, that's a different world.
It's a different world.
Yes.
But in the back of my mind, that's what I think of.
Okay, so we are thinking about promotions and selling. Okay, so we are getting deep into Nancy's mind. Author, creator.
Yeah, the smoke is starting to come out of it.
Yes. So she's sharing these, thoughts and tinkering going on in the back of her mind. Okay, so you're writing these books. Do you do anything to better yourself?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, you're winning these awards.
No,
these awards just don't come,
No. I've done enormous amounts of work to try to learn to be a quality writer. I've attended conferences. I live in a small town on the Olympic Peninsula. It's very art driven. There are many authors and creative outlets in this small town. It's called Port Townsend. And I started locally. They have a fairly major conference here where they have classes and things like that. That's where I started. I've taken a variety of classes, worked with a variety of writers, attended conferences like the one I was in a larger venue now. The Pacific Northwest Writers Association provides fabulous training classes. I've interacted with a lot of progressively successful writers, and I have a writers group that I work with where there are 6 of us that get together monthly and critique each other's work. Of the 6, 3 of us have published novels now, and we've been together for 6 years, which is kind of unusual, but we're all expanding our quality. So yes, continually taking advantage of exposure and taking classes and working with other people. It's an ongoing process.
Yes, that's how you better yourself. Absolutely.
And like I mentioned, going over this chapter and that came to me in the middle of the night 2 nights ago, that there are things that I learn now that I can go back and make the novels better than when I wrote them. Now, this is almost a confession, but that novel, that 5th novel, was part of that explosion of putting material on paper. And it was written in about 2015. Now, that is 6 or 7 years ago. And I have learned a whale of a lot since then. It's almost like, it's all, if you want to get weird, it's almost like I didn't want to publish these earlier because I knew they weren't ready. Now I've learned things like introducing the main characters early, like doing hooks to bring a reader in quickly,
Mhm.
to, you know, things I've learned. Now I can go back to some of these earlier drafts and really make them better.
That's awesome. That is just awesome. So your recommendation is never stop learning
Never.
whatever you're doing. Yes.
Yes, and editing. And if you're lucky enough to have some older material that you were not satisfied, put it
Uh-huh.
down for a while. Talk to people, get ideas, take some classes, and develop, and then go back to the material.
Yes. Yes. You said you were living in some artsy town.
Hmm.
Okay. And so within that artsy town, of course, you have the seasoned authors, seasoned artists, and of course, you have the newcomers.
Right.
Right. So my question to you is, what would be the one thing you recommend to a newcomer author? She's green, he's green, he is looking at you, wide eyes, it's like, come on, Nancy, give me something.
Okay, this is really easy, Gurhan. This is easy.
Okay.
All right, this is what I recommend. Try to find an idea that inspires you. That's all you need. Something that is a basic idea for whatever, poetry, a book, a short story, but let's say a novel. Okay.
Mhm.
Then sit down and start writing. Try to have a precipitating incident that would start the novel.
Mhm.
Okay. Write about that and just keep going and do not edit it. Do not edit it because you don't know enough yet. You don't know enough. Just get the idea, let it flow onto the paper. And if you edit for perfection early, one, it's a waste of time, it bogs you down and you give up. Just let the idea flow onto the paper and worry about quality later. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay, well, I'm going to take this part and just plaster it all over the place, You
That's
want
what
to
I
win?
did. It really worked for me.
Yes,
You know,
that's
I
it.
have a lot of perfectionistic friends. Most of them are women, but we won't go there. And, I'm not. I'm not. I don't worry about that.
Uh-huh.
I worry about quality. I worry about it, but you just can't let it stop you. You
Yes.
just have to let the creativity flow.
Yeah, I'm going to take that part and I'm going to say, hey, you want to win multi rewards? Watch this.
Yeah, just start. Just start.
Just watch this part. Okay, so these are all the questions about you and the authorship and novels. I just have one question. This is all personal. We're going way back. I'm just going to ask you. It's most of the time when somebody says, "Hey, I want to write. Okay, I want to be an author." Families usually don't like that because authors don't usually make money right off the bat. So I just want to ask you the questions. What happened when you just either told them or didn't tell them that you wanted to write? You actually wanted to become an author.
I was very fortunate that the creative impulse did not attack me until after I retired.
Okay.
Um, I'm a firm believer in holding up your end. And if you say, I want to be a writer, and that means that I'm I'm not going to earn a living, I'm basically just going to be dependent on other people. I don't think that's fair, and I don't think it's necessary. I don't think you have to, quantity of money has never been important to me. On the other hand, I believe in doing your share to support a family or yourself. And I have to believe they go together. You don't have to do what I did, write 6 or 8 hours a day. But I have a close friend who's a very well-published author. He gets up at 6:30 in the morning and writes for an hour and a half every day. And then he does a regular job. And then he
Oh.
edits in the evening. You can find a balance. And
Mhm.
I cannot imagine a family would mind if you just say, I'm going to be self-supporting. I don't need a lot of money to do that, but I'm not going to depend on you either. I'm going to hold up my end, and then I'm going to write.
Yes. Carry your own weight, in other words.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. So all this time, all passed. Now, what does your family think about your writing, being an author?
I have one daughter-in-law who's a writer herself.
Oh.
And she's not published, but she writes beautifully, mostly poetry. And so she, of course, is extremely supportive.
Mhm.
One of my sons, who is a computer geek and a very successful engineer, wrote a novel in high school just for fun. So, you know, my family is very, very supportive. My husband is very different from myself. He was in the military. I guess you would call him not creative.
Follow orders, give orders.
Right. We're just very different, which I find very, very interesting. And we've been married for 47 years.
Whoa, hats off.
Two very different personalities and points of view. But he's very proud of me, of what
Nice.
I've done.
Nice.
But it's really funny because he's not one of these glowing people who just gives you tons of positive reinforcement. But I find out second nature that he's bragged about my accomplishments all over the place. That's just
yes. Wait till you start becoming a lot more famous after this book and next book, sky high.
Okay, this is funny, Gurhan. This is really funny. Money and fame are completely not important to me. Now, to you as a marketer, they may be important, and I'm glad they're important. Yes. But I've even told, and my goal is to share my characters and my stories, because the people who read them get back to me and say, it changed my life in some way. There's goodness in these books, despite the problems. When someone comes up to me fairly frequently and says, I just read your book and I just loved it. I really identified with this or that or whatever. That's it. That's what I write for. I wouldn't care. This is going to sound really weird. If it was published under somebody else's name and people didn't even know that I wrote it, the important thing to me is the stories are read, because I think they have something to say. And especially in this modern world that has a lot of unhappiness and fright and negativity, my books are a counter to that. And I'm very proud of that. And that's why I write them.
Yes, so let's get them out. Have many people read it. You are much more different than some of my authors that I promote, because some of them are completely different. And these are, you have no idea. I mean, the color of the font has to be matching her color, whatever, it is.
all I want is my books out there and have people read them. That's all I want. That's it.
Well, yeah, you're easy. I like it.
I know you're easy.
Yes. Okay, so these are all my questions, but I just wanted to ask one more time, of course, again, would you like to add anything anymore?
Oh, let's see. All right. Probably.
Most likely.
For those people who are not creative, I feel bad for them. They're probably calmer people, but the creativity part of living to me is the most joyful part. Whether it is painting or dance or writing or any creative effort, It brings such joy. It's like your brother who plays in the band. And if you have to work at a mundane job to earn the privilege of being able to be creative, it's like you're putting in the drudgery. And what I did was not drudgery, but it was not what I wanted to do. But I did it so that I had the opportunity and the time to do what I really wanted, because creativity brings so much joy. When I had children, I was not a hovering parent. I guess you could call it benign neglect, but I also exposed my kids to a lot of really great things. I felt raising my children was my first really creative outlet. And then, yeah, and it's not like I had to micromanage them. It wasn't that. But the fact that they grew up to be happy, optimistic, successful people gives me enormous pride that I did it well. And then getting into music, which I said was a bridge into other creativity. I've never met anybody who was a successful musician or a writer or an artist who did not just say, that's why I live. It's really funny. If you take an average artist, and people are always saying, oh, poor so-and-so, he died in poverty, painting pictures in his garret. And I go, don't pity him. He was happy. Yes. He was up there painting, expressing himself, being part of the creative process. He had a great life, unless he was starving to death. But in general, don't waste your time feeling sorry for him. It's the creative process.
As far as he's concerned, he had a wonderful life.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's one thing. Let me just take a quick look and see if there's anything else here. I think we've covered it pretty well.
Covered everything. Yeah, you have your notes.
Okay.
Yes, you're a writer.
I am a writer. It took some years after I retired and I was into writing before I felt like it. I felt like I wrote, but somewhere along the lines become my identity, and I'm really proud of it.
Yes, and let's see. We're gonna see you, New York Times and everything else. We're gonna see that. I can feel that coming.
It would be nice.
Yes. Okay, well, that's it, actually. Those are all my questions, and this is the end of our session. Okay. And I just want to thank you very much for your time, and we'll take it from here, and you go write, and I'll go promote.
Wonderful. Keep up the good work.
Yes, talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to Self-Publishing Authors, home for candid talks and honest recommendations, from book editing to book marketing, from author journeys to inspirations. Hosted by Gurhan Demirkan.